Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. I came home with 2 bags of groceries and found Lauren already dressed, hair done, heels, that careful look she puts on when she wants to be seen. I checked the clock, 8 in the evening. She was spritzing perfume, scrolling her phone, going somewhere. I set the bags on the counter. Coffee with the girls, she said, like it was noon on a Saturday. At 8. They had to push it. You know how it is. Stay, I suggested. We haven't had a normal night in weeks. I'll make dinner, we'll watch something. Mark, I already told them yes. So cancel. Or push it. It's coffee. Her jaw twitched. I keep my word. Another night. She grabbed her clutch. Don't wait up. I watched the door shut. The house felt like a hotel lobby at closing time. Lights on, no people. I stood there with spinach and chicken thawing, hearing the echo of my own generosity. If I'd known where that another night was headed, I would have skipped the groceries and gone straight to step 4. The next morning, she was still distant. I brewed coffee, plated eggs. She sat but didn't touch them, just scrolled. Calendar, I said, aiming calm. Pick 2 nights this week. Your choice. No phones, just us. Why are we doing agendas now? She didn't look up. Because I miss my wife. That's heavy for breakfast. It's honest. She sighed. Okay. Thursday. Maybe. Depends on work. Pick another. I'll see. Stop pressing. I'm not pressing. I'm scheduling. She pushed the plate away. I'll eat later. You're not eating or talking. Pick something. Thursday. I said maybe. Copy. Maybe. She made a face. Don't be needy. I'm not needy. I'm married. She stood. I really don't have time for this. You had time for coffee at 8. Mark. Thursday, I repeated. And Saturday. If you can't make it, say it now. Silence. She swiped a notification away and finally looked at me. You know what? Do your own thing this week. I'm underwater. I already do my own thing, I answered. That's the point. She grabbed her bag. We'll talk tonight. We keep missing tonight, I added. That's also the point. She left the eggs and the smell of her perfume. I took my plate to the sink and set the rest aside. I'm not dramatic. I'm practical. When someone tells me where they're headed, I check the map, then adjust. I started with time. At lunch, I canceled a couple's dinner we had on Sunday and told my buddy Dave I'd join him at the range instead. I cleaned up our shared calendar, removed my commitments from her view, and made a separate budget line for my own expenses. Not a threat, just a reset. That evening, I told her calmly in the kitchen while sorting the mail. New deal, I said. I'm not chasing. I'll match your effort. Direct invites only. If you want time, ask. I'll do the same. That's childish. It's clear. So you're punishing me? I'm protecting us from confusion. She smirked. From your confusion. That too. She poured a glass of wine and made a show out of ignoring me. An hour later, she announced she was going to walk off a headache. Shoes, keys, door. The hallway light swung and settled. I checked the time. 8:15. The same hour as coffee. By Wednesday, the temperature dropped further. She went quiet, then a little snide. At breakfast, she hummed through my sentence. That night, she brushed past me on the way to the bathroom and quipped, "Don't wait up. You sleep early anyway." I can stay up, I told the mirror while I shaved. Not for me. You sure about that? Positive. I let it sit. She was testing how much distance she could buy with attitude. People do that. Nudge the line, measure the allowance. I've led teams long enough to recognize the test. You don't beg the line back. You move the stakes. Thursday, I drove to the shop early and got ahead of the schedule. I run a small contracting firm. 5 crews, steady clients, simple rules. I like clean timelines. By noon, Lauren texted, "Let's do dinner. I'm free for once." Surprise. I considered. We hadn't touched in days. I'd already booked a late meeting with a supplier. I called. "Dinner's nice," I told her. "But I've got a meeting. Saturday, I'm free after 2. You can't move a meeting? I could, but I'm not. You told me not to be needy. She exhaled into the line. Wow, great teamwork. I'm matching effort. I'm trying here. You're trying tonight, which is new. Keep it going, we'll land it Saturday. She went quiet, then said in a softer tone, I'll cook. Saturday. Your favorite. That does sound good. See? We're fine. I hung up and shook my head. That was her first swing at softening. A warm dish to bargain distance. I wasn't mad. I just didn't buy it as a fix. That evening, she sent a picture of salmon in the oven, like an apology in JPEG. I thanked her and stayed at the shop. When I got home around 9, she was on the couch in sweats, plate set for me, eyes very kind. There he is, she chirped. Tired? A bit. I made lemon bars too. That's a lot of lemons for a Thursday. It's called care. I cut into the salmon. It was good. She watched me eat with a smile like a realtor at an open house. You know, she started, arranging her hair. I realize I've been busy. I'm going to fix that. Good. I'll go to sleep early tonight. I've got emails. Her mouth twitched. Okay, tomorrow then. Saturday, I said. I keep my word. Her smile thinned. You can be very rigid. I can, I agreed. It keeps things straight. She didn't like that. 10 minutes later, she announced she needed to drop something at Molly's. She was back after 11, colder again. Hug in the doorway? Not offered. At work the next day, Dave wandered into my office with a burrito and a look. Dave's been with me 7 years. He reads me like a ledger. You look like you slept in a chair, he said. I slept in a bed with a ghost. Trouble at home? Scheduled drift. That code for something? It's code for I'm done guessing. He chewed. You want my 2 cents? I'll take a nickel. Stop negotiating alone. You know what happens when a client stops answering emails? The job got moved without you. I'm not a client. You're a client to each other, he said, pointing with his burrito. Treat it like that. Missed meetings, payment terms, scope creep, call it. Or bow out. I nodded. Dave is blunt. That's why he's valuable. After lunch, I called a number from a card a buddy had passed me months before. Renee Shaw. She used to be a cop. Now she does private work for companies. Inventory leaks, background checks, simple stuff. I wasn't ready to accuse my wife of anything. I wanted clarity. Renee picked up on the third ring. Shaw. Renee, I'm Mark. Nick Reed gave me your number. Nick the warehouse guy? That's him. What's the job? I need eyes, I said. I'm not looking for trouble. I'm looking for truth. Understood. Spouse. Yes. How long? 7 years. What's changed? I listed the basics. The late nights, the sudden coffee, the aggression when questioned, the new makeup routine for errands that used to be sweatpants territory. Renee said, you want a full workup or a pattern read? Pattern. Give me her schedule guesses. I'll confirm or deny. You'll pay for time, not drama. That's why I called you. We set terms. I hung up and looked at the calendar. Saturday still looked like a lifeline. I decided to show up well for it. Then I changed one more rule. I moved half the joint savings to a separate account in my name and documented every transfer with date and purpose. We weren't at war. We were at audit. I told Lauren that night in the kitchen, keeping it plain as a receipt. I shifted some funds, I said. House bills are covered. My personal savings are my own. That's sneaky. It's clean. You don't trust me? I trust math. Are you serious right now? If we're good, I said, this is noise. If we're not, it keeps things tidy. You're unbelievable. I'm steady. She stared at me like I'd just kicked a puppy. Then, as if a director yelled cut, she softened again. Okay, she said, quiet now. I've been distant. I get it. I'll make up for it. Saturday will fix it. Saturday is a meal, I replied. Respect is a habit. Fine. Then watch me. Saturday arrived with a sunshine mood from her. She was sweet from morning, humming while she chopped vegetables. She set the table, fussed over which napkins looked warmer, poured me iced tea, and sat close. This looks great, I told her. I told you I'd make it right. We ate. Conversation stayed polite. When I leaned in to kiss her afterward, she leaned back with a laugh. Not now, she said. I'm stuffed. We're married, I said, not whispering, not begging. I know. Let's nap first. She disappeared into a shower that took 45 minutes. Afterwards, she came out in lounge clothes and said she needed a drive to clear her head and think about a project. She left me with clean plates and a feeling I'd seen this movie. That night, I got an email from Renee. Pattern emerging. We'll brief tomorrow. Sunday afternoon, we met in a quiet coffee place far from our neighborhood. Renee was early, hair in a low bun, no makeup, plain jeans. She slid a folder across. Let's talk patterns, she said. 3 evenings this week were spent at the same place on the river near downtown. Same arrival window, 7:30 to 8. Same table. She didn't meet a group. She met the same man. I didn't speak. She continued like she was reporting weather. Contact behavior was familiar. Shoulders angled in, faces close, small touches. They stayed between 90 minutes and 2 hours. She left alone each time. Thursday, she took a walk afterward. Friday, she went straight home. Photos? I asked. I'm not dropping shots you don't want, she said. This is your marriage. You tell me. Show me that I'm not crazy. She flipped a few prints to me. Lauren's laugh, her hand on a sleeve, that unnatural light in her eyes when she's selling herself to someone. And the man, maybe my age, polished, the kind of guy who buys cufflinks and compliments waitstaff loudly for effect. Renee sat back. This isn't your fault. I didn't ask for a pep talk. Not giving one. I'm telling you the data. I paid cash and walked to my truck. I didn't cry or shake or do any of the things movies like. I did what I do when a job turns: triage, plan, execute. At home, Lauren was in the den, half watching a show. I set my keys down. Want to take a drive? I asked. I'm tired. Tomorrow, then. Maybe. Maybe, I echoed. Monday, I met with my accountant and separated every asset that was legally and cleanly mine. Nothing sneaky, everything documented. I froze 2 credit cards and issued a new one for my business only. I changed my phone's passcode. I inventoried the safe and moved my titles to a safety deposit box. That night, I told Lauren as much as mattered. Money's tidy, I said. Nothing missing, just organized. She glanced over. Do whatever makes you feel in control. Control isn't the goal, I said. Clarity is. Same thing with a new sticker. I like stickers. She rolled her eyes. When she tried to go for her usual late walk, I didn't ask where. I didn't ask when she'd be back. That bothered her. You're not going to check on me, she needled in the doorway. You told me you're not a child. So now you don't care? I care about what cares back. She left with a scoff that sounded rehearsed. Wednesday at lunch, Dave watched me sort invoices and finally asked, You good? I'm getting there, I told him. He tapped the desk. You look lighter. I moved some furniture around. Meaning? Rules. He nodded. Then finish it. Half measures rot. Thursday came with her next shift. She showed up at my shop around noon, a box of pastries from the place she knows I like. She walked past the guys with the face she uses for holidays. Brought bribes, she announced. The crew looked at me. I took the box, opened it, offered one to Dave and the others first. Lauren's smile flickered. Can we talk? She asked. In my office, I said. She sat on the visitor chair, crossed her legs like a politician's wife. I know I've been off. Stress. Family stuff. Name the family stuff. Mom's been on me. My sister's a mess. She always is. I just need you to be patient. I'm patient with fires that are real. I don't rent out my backbone. What is that supposed to mean? It means I don't carry excuses, even cute ones. She softened again. Let me fix it. Dinner tonight. No phones. I've got a job walk. Cancel it. She pushed, eyes bright. For me. No. Why not? Because you asked me last. If you want to be first, act first. She stood with a little laugh. You're ridiculous. I watched her leave and heard the guys suddenly talk louder outside to cover the quiet. 2 hours later, Renee texted. Same place tonight, 7:45. I didn't reply. I worked late, went home, and pretended to sleep. Lauren slipped in after midnight, quiet as a cat. I stared at the ceiling and made peace with what came next. Friday morning, I drafted a message to my lawyer to prepare documents. Nothing dramatic, just the adult version of we're done. Then I went to the bank, then to the storage unit I'd rented that morning, then back home to pack half of her things into labeled boxes. I left her essentials, nothing malicious. I'm not petty. I'm thorough. Saturday, she was suddenly sunshine again. She made pancakes like she hadn't in months, chatted about paint colors for an imaginary renovation, asked if I wanted to drive to the coast next weekend. Not next weekend, I said, stacking plates. Busy. With what? Closing phases out. What does that even mean? You'll see. She blinked. You sound like you rehearsed that. I wrote it down. She put a hand on my arm. Hey, let's not be weird. Then stop being weird. I'm trying. Try when it costs you. That evening she announced she needed to help her mother with some apartment thing. Late night, she warned. Don't wait up. It was the same sentence from 2 weeks ago with new lipstick. Got it, I replied. Be useful. Her eyes flashed. Don't be mean. I'm being accurate. She left. I showered, shaved, put on a clean shirt, and drove downtown to the river. I didn't go to the restaurant right away. I stood outside across the street where there's a bench and a view through the window. At 7:48, Lauren walked in with him, his hand warm on the small of her back like he'd practiced it. She wore the dress she never wore for me anymore. They took the same table. The staff greeted them like regulars. I walked in 5 minutes later and asked for a booth with a line of sight. Dining alone? The hostess asked. Not for long, I answered. I ordered a steak and a soda, tipped the waiter up front for discretion, and settled in. I watched without drama. Her laugh got louder. His stories got bigger. She repeated a line I'd heard her use on my clients. I love ambitious men. She lifted her glass and showed him the exact smile she'd used to open my wallet for 1,000 small favors over 7 years. At 8:22, I texted her. Where are you? She glanced down, frowned, typed. I'm not obligated to report. Leave me alone. I smiled. I'd hoped for that. I typed back, sweetheart, turn around. She didn't at first. Then some instinct sparked, and she did. Our eyes met. Panic ran across her face like someone pulled the fire alarm in her skull. I lifted my glass to her. I couldn't help it. I laughed. It wasn't cruel. It was relief with a sense of humor. You should see your face. I called across the room, loud enough for the nearest tables. Worth every mile. She stared, mouth open, then flicked her eyes to the man. He looked from her to me, puzzled. What's going on? He asked her. She couldn't find an answer fast enough. I stood, paid my bill in cash at the bar, then walked to their table with a neat envelope. Lauren, I said. We're done. I set the envelope in front of her. This is the clean version. The man blinked. Done what? Marriage. I replied without looking at him. She forgot to mention it. His chair scraped. You're married? Lauren tried to regroup. It's complicated. It's simple, I corrected. And we're simplifying. I turned and raised my voice enough for the room. Champagne for the house. I told the nearest server, sliding my card. We're celebrating my divorce. A few scattered cheers broke out. Humans love a story. The man stood, flushed, and cleared his throat. I'm sorry, he said to me, suddenly small. I didn't know. I believe you. I answered dead calm. Enjoy the bubbles. He looked at Lauren like she'd sold him a lemon and he'd just read the inspection report. You didn't say anything. I was going to, she stammered. Tonight. You had weeks, I said, and it landed. He picked up a glass when the champagne came, downed it in one swallow like he wanted to cleanse his mouth from the last hour, set the glass down, and nodded to me. Good luck, man. Then he walked out. Lauren sat there holding the envelope like it was a live wire. The room hummed. My waiter handed me the receipt. I signed, then turned back to her. You could have been straight, I said. I respect straight. Can we talk privately? She pleaded, voice thin. We could have, before this became a public hobby. I didn't. Save it. I stepped back. Everyone enjoy, I called out with a smile, and I meant it. Then I walked out into the night air that finally matched the temperature inside me. She ran after me outside, heels catching the sidewalk. Mark, please, don't do this. I thought nothing could make me laugh harder than your last excuse, I told her as a cab slowed to the curb. But you keep raising the bar. She reached for my sleeve, then thought better of it. I made a mistake. You made a string of choices. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. And more importantly, it's exactly what I know. I'll fix it. You don't fix disrespect. You end it. The cab door opened. I slid in, looked at her once, and added, buy better coffee. Then I shut the door and told the driver my address. Back home, I changed the locks. The kit was ready. 10 minutes per door if you don't fumble the screws. I reprogrammed the garage keypad. I put the labeled boxes by the foyer. At midnight, she tried her key, discovered the new metal, and knocked like she wanted to wake the whole block. I didn't open. She called. I let it ring. She called again and again. On the 6th try, I picked up. Mark, please. I just want to talk. Text me an address for your things, I said. I'll have them delivered. You can't do this. I just did. I'm sorry, okay? I was stupid. That's an opinion. Address. She gave her sister's place. I hung up. I blocked her number. It felt like turning off a faucet that had been dripping for months. The deliveries went out the next day. Dave came by with his truck and a case of sparkling water because he thought champagne was corny. You're handling this like a project, he observed, lifting a box. It is a project. Any regrets? I regret not reading the schedule earlier. He set the box down and looked at me. You're clear. I am. The funny thing about endings is that they don't need confetti. They need a checklist and a door that closes. I gave her neither drama nor a fight scene. I gave her a boundary she couldn't negotiate. She tried once more through email a week later. Long paragraphs, big feelings, a few small admissions laced with excuses. I didn't respond. My lawyer filed what needed to be filed. She didn't contest anything. I suspect the public exit made the costs obvious. The process moved like a form. Done. The house felt different. Not empty, open. I painted the guest room the shade I wanted and turned it into an office. I replaced the couch we'd picked in a hurry years ago with one I liked. I bought a used pickup I'd been eyeing for months, not because I needed it, but because it felt like mine. Saturdays I started running with Dave at the park, then breakfast at the diner where the waitress calls everyone Han, without meaning anything by it. My parents visited for a weekend. We grilled in the yard. My dad told me I looked younger. Maybe I did. Maybe it was just fewer knots to carry. A month later, a friend introduced me to Stephanie at a neighborhood cookout. She runs a small landscaping business. Hands like someone who actually works, direct eyes. We talked about contracts and supply chain headaches. No grand promises. No pressure. When she asked what happened with my marriage, I said, I stopped sponsoring disrespect. She nodded like that sentence made sense. The guys at work noticed I whistled more. Dave teased me about it until I told him to take on an extra site visit if he had all that energy. He laughed and said, the old boss is back. Maybe he was. I heard about Lauren through a neighbor who still follows her sister online. Apparently, the man from the restaurant found out more and vanished from her calendar. Her friend group thinned. She moved to a smaller place closer to her mother. She stopped posting designed happiness. I'm not rooting for her pain. I'm just not saving her from its lessons. That night on the river, I made a choice that ended something and freed everything else. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't make a movie. I ordered champagne for strangers and left with my dignity. People think strength is volume. It isn't. It's the ability to put a line on the floor and step over it without waiting for applause. It's buying groceries at 8, offering dinner, then refusing to be the backup dish for someone else's appetite. It's recognizing when the person you loved started auditioning for a richer room and deciding you don't run auditions in your house. I don't miss the chaos. I don't miss the calendar games. I miss the idea of what we were supposed to be, and then I remember we weren't that for a while. I won't sponsor lies, even dressed up as coffee dates. I won't chase, either. I have better miles to spend. So here's where I am. The lock turns once, clean. The truck starts on the first try. My friends show up because they always did. Work is steady. There's a woman I'm getting to know who doesn't flinch at honesty. And when I pass the river at sunset, I don't think about her laugh at that table. I think about the moment I told a crowded room I was celebrating my own exit. It felt like fresh air after a long shift in a basement. Not a party, a standard. If I could give advice to anyone sitting in a silent kitchen with a plate of eggs going cold while their spouse scrolls, recognize the early signs, set the rule early, keep your word to yourself. You don't have to be loud. You have to be sure. I made the mistake of ignoring small disrespects until they became a hobby. I won't make it twice. The rest of my life is simpler. I choose people who show up at 8 because they want to be with me, not because a richer dinner canceled on them. I choose conversations that don't require detective work. I choose my own table, my own laugh, my own exit when someone tries to sell me another night at the cost of self-respect.